Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all our esteemed guests. Thank you for joining us today. Yang berbahagia, Academician Dr Tengku Mohamed Elmasry, President of Academy of Sciences Malaysia and SDI Advisor to the Prime Minister and Nation. Professor Dr Mohamed Elmasry, Emeritus Professor of Computer Engineering from University of Waterloo, Canada, who is the distinguished speaker for today's public lecture. Yang berusaha Puan Hazami Habib, Chief Executive Officer, Academy of Sciences Malaysia, ASM Expert Network, representatives from the governments, agencies, institutions and organizations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the public lecture on Artificial and Real Intelligence, the Future of Intelligence. My name is Sarah Rahman, your MC for today's program. We are gathered here today to hear the sharing by Professor Dr Mohamed Elmasry, a leading expert in microchips and artificial neural network on artificial intelligence and real intelligence. The lecture will explore their connection to technology, the human mind, and even mindfulness and spirituality, shedding light on their impact on well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, it is my honor to invite ASM President and SDI Advisor to the Prime Minister and the Nation, Academician Dr Tengku Mohamed Elmasry, to deliver his welcoming remarks and introduce our esteemed speaker.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Salam sejahtera. Professor Mohamed Elmasry, our distinguished participants from ASM, from the wider community, thank you for coming here to join us and welcome. We had actually an excess number of requests to join, but maybe some of them are going to be late because seats are still available. However, we are having also streaming, live streaming, so that others who cannot be here physically will be able to at least participate virtually. So let me say that this subject of AI is attracting a lot of attention, maybe too much attention. So we are trying to make sense of what's really happening. And don't be surprised that some of your assumptions and thoughts about the subject may be just missed. We are trying to get the facts right so that we can all benefit from this session. Professor Elmasry, as you know, is an emeritus professor at Waterloo in Canada. We go back more than 30 years, I think. Because I was once invited to speak at a conference he organized in Istanbul. That was my first visit to Istanbul. So I would have to thank him for bringing him there, bringing me there. Because since then I have been visiting Istanbul many, many times and made many friends over more than 30 years. But after attending that meeting, I also took upon myself to also organize one together with Professor Elmasry, maybe late 90s, I think. And we had a very good reception here. Now he's telling me that he wants us to do another one. So I said, inshallah. I will not undertake the second exercise, but I will depend on you young guys. Get on with it. Thanks. Let me say that the friendship over 30 years is wonderful to be renewed again, especially in the month of Ramadan, when we all come together to share our, I would say, thoughts and our ambitions, even our aspirations. So Canada is a hotspot for AI, as you well know. Only last year, Geoffrey Hinton, who's actually British, English, but worked in Canada all his life, he got Nobel Prize together with two others. I believe two others are also from Canada, is that correct? Benjio and Lecan. Huh? So they are all Canadians. Canada is a small country, about our size in population, but of course big in land. So it doesn't mean that you have to be big to be very successful. you have to be very focused. So that's what it's all about. So Professor Elmasry comes with that sort of background, and he will tell you that one of his former students is the founder of BlackBerry. And I believe BlackBerry started, I think, a mathematics research institute in Waterloo. It's called Perimeter, is that correct? Perimeter, yes. I remember all these things. So all these benefactors can really help us, provided we have rich benefactors in the first place. That's the way to start. So let me just go quickly through what Malaysia is doing in IT. Actually, it's nothing new for Malaysia because we go back, I think, 50 years. The first PhD in AI was my good friend Professor Zaharin Yusof. I'm not sure whether he's here. And he was in USM, and I know him very well. He's a fellow of our academy. That's 50 years ago. Easy. When I was in MIMOS, we also had an AI section. We did some work, but not as spectacular as we would like to see. But it's continuing. Now, of course, lately, I can tell you that the Minister of Digital is trying to build up this AI office. So that's a very important initiative for the country. And just a few days ago, you must have heard from the news that the country is going to collaborate with a company called ARM. ARM, of course, is a chip core. That's the language of chip designers. Is CPU. When you have CPU, you can link CPUs to other peripherals and create the chip that you want, specialized. And the possibility is to have AI chips designed by Malaysians, not necessarily starting from zero, because you already have the ARM core. And ARM cores can be linked into parallel processors, and that's how NVIDIA operates. Highly parallel processing. So you can have GPUs, etc., etc. So all these possibilities are just thoughts. How to execute them is another story. And so we want to hear from you. What is our ambition together today? So let's say that we have something that is worth talking about, and this is AI that may have a future in our country as well. But AI has many versions, many shapes and colors. They have different kinds. What is popularly known today is what is called a chatbot, coming from companies like OpenAI. There are many others, by the way. The Chinese DeepSeek is now threatening OpenAI because it is much cheaper. It is equally good. That means that all those people who invested in companies like OpenAI will not get their money back. You know what I mean? You invest a lot of money, and other guys coming in later will create a different kind of business proposition that actually is much cheaper. So these are the context that you think about. It is not merely creating technology, but technology that people can use. So I would like to say that what Professor Elmasry will speak about today on the topic of artificial and real intelligence is very, very important. Because the future of intelligence is not merely artificial, it has to start with real intelligence, human intelligence. And I want to say that when you industrialize information as we have done through large language models, you will only get more of the same. That's what industry is. A factory produces more of the same. You want to deal with that sort of machine, there must be the human in the loop. There's no doubt about it. The human probably becomes better or more important than the machine. So this is where we have to go from information to knowledge and perhaps to wisdom. So with that, let me just invite Professor Elmasry. The floor is yours. Thank you. Please welcome.
Can you hear me okay? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. And Ramadan Mubarak. Originally I was trying to come here before Ramadan, so I don't have the right mouth in my talk, but It's a blessing to be here in Ramadan, and I wish you a blessed Ramadan, almost halfway. I like to thank Dr. Sharafuddin, my brother and my friend for 30 years, for the invitation. And I'm looking forward to the meeting after the talk. And also, I want to thank one of the bright students, is Mohamed Elmasry. Can you raise your hand there? Everybody knows him? Okay. For making the connection and keeping me connected to Malaysia. I have 3 children attending here in the front. She from Malaysia, so they took the day off to come to listen to me. They are proud of their Canadian Egyptian father. So let me start by a story. Dr. Sharafuddin mentioned Jeffrey Hinton from University of Toronto, who got actually later Nobel Prize for AI. I know Dr. Hinton for a long time. He used to be a co-worker. He's an academic from University of Toronto, working on AI from the software business part, and I was working on the hardware side. So to be fair, they didn't give me the Nobel, but I deserve it. I tell you, I deserve it. Believe me. And I wrote a book which is very important. Maybe some of you can look at it. It's called Artificial Neural Networks. Artificial Neural Networks. Actually, AI is not new. In the 70s, the software industry was looking at what is called expert systems. Expert systems is a software program which is different from the regular one. This means that regular software programs, the algorithm, you convert the algorithm into code, and the algorithm is, you do this and do that, you step F and F and so on. And anybody in software, they will know that. At that time, in the 70s, we tried to do something different. It's actually to mimic the brain, I just want to add a footnote here, very important. Scientists and engineers, they don't invent anything, they discover. So what we do is to see how God created something, and then we transform that into software or hardware. Okay? So don't get the impression that we are master of the universe. We are not master of the universe. So at that time, Hinton started working, and he made a contribution. I used his contribution in my book. He was recognizing me, I recognized him, and then he decided to go to Google. He spent 20 years in Google, left academia, and made a lot of money. Okay, that's his choice. And then suddenly he gave up on in the business, and then he resigned from Google, and he started talking about AI. And I was really surprised that he made a statement that AI is dangerous. Of course, any science can be dangerous, or could be also helpful. Following his statement, with AI, what he did a good job is actually making AI a household name. Every house in the world know AI. They don't know what's AI, but something good. And there is a split that AI will actually take over. There is an echo here. Can we reduce it a bit? So the AI can actually take over the world and replace people, which is not true. Or the other one, AI is useless and cannot do much. That's two extremes. That's not true. So what I decided actually is to try to educate the public about what is really AI. And most important is the microchip behind AI, because AI is not alone in performing XYZ. You have to have the hardware behind it, okay, which is the microchips, which I have lots of contribution, and I am the number one in I shut this one here. So the microchips are very important in terms of hardware to help the AI to perform. And I am the number one in the world in digital IC design. So if there is a Nobel for digital IC design, I should have it long time ago. But Mr. Nobel did not make a prize for engineers. His money, he can do whatever, right? So he did physics, chemistry, literature, peace, and so on. So when I decided actually to talk about AI and what is really AI is, and what can or cannot do, I looked at that people are not looking at the real thing. And I am the one invented AI, RI. So there is AI and RI. RI is your human intelligence, you and me. So I decided actually, I'm 81 years old, but I started 3 years ago in order to write this book, which I hope you can buy a copy. It's online, okay, which is called, I-Mind, Artificial and Real Intelligence, and it's published by Routledge. Routledge is a very famous and the oldest publisher in the world, with a head office in London, England, and many offices in the world. And I was happy actually they took the book, because the book is risky, because it's new, and try to bridge the knowledge gap between AI and RI. Very difficult. So what I decided to do is to write this book. I sent the Routledge the outline, and they accepted. Okay, let's talk about expert system, because this will lead to AI. Expert system is a software which is different from the regular algorithmic driven software. It is actually, it helps itself by learning from experts. So let's say we want an expert to do a software to convert, for example, an X-ray of somebody who suspected to have cancer into he has cancer, and accuracy is 70, 80, 90%. So this means what we do, we get a program, okay, a software guy sitting here, and an expert radiologist sitting here. So they talk to each other, and they have many data points, 1,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, to see how the program can code this expertise into this. It's a learning process, exactly what this is in here. So what happened is, we lost the interest of expertise because they were afraid that they convert their expertise to a program and they become out of job. Stop. Expert system dead on arrival in about 10 years in mid-80. And I converted from artificial neural networks to other research areas, which I will talk to you about later. About 10 years, maybe 5-10 years later, they got a sexy name for the expert system, which is called artificial intelligence. There is no intelligence in this. No intelligence. It's the same expert system that we use expertise to perform and improve and enhance performance. But it catch on, got money from the governments, and people start paying attention. It's exactly the same. You teach a program with the help of expertise in order to perform a certain task. So now let's talk about the example of a radiologist. Can a program, AI program, who predict that this X-ray of that person has cancer with, say, 95% accuracy? Yes. Can that program replace the expert? No. But he can be helpful as a trainee, in the level of the trainee of radiologist. Or in a rarer area in Sarawak, there is no top expert in this. So this is the first filter, that the hospital in Sarawak, we can send this to the AI, it's a back end of the X-ray, and see what is this. It's a binary decision. Yes, he has cancer. No, he has no cancer, or maybe. So in case of maybe, you have to bring it back to an expert, a real human expert, to decide. Maybe you need extra test, maybe. And the AI program will use exactly the same algorithm in the mind of the expert radiologist. The expert radiologist will ask about gender, about age. He look at the X-ray. What's the distribution of the spots? How long this person is coming to this? What is the environment for this person? The upbringing, the genetics, and so on. And then based on all of that information, he decide, yes, I need further test, or yes, this person has cancer, okay? So all these are taken into account in a good AI. The more data points the AI can have, the more accuracy it can reach. Now let's talk about the back end of this. AI is based on the hardware which run it. Could be a general purpose CPU, or could be a special accelerator. And I want to talk in the meeting about special AI accelerator. So this means that if you have a certain application and you need a really high accuracy, it is worth it to convert some of this into a special purpose hardware in order to speed the algorithm for the AI. Okay, it's expensive, but if you have too many of these, you can actually afford it, and it will be worth doing it. Now let's talk about RI. This is a fun, okay? RI, which is based in the brain, really, and I use the analogy of the computer, software and hardware. Software and hardware. And actually this is in Quranic Arabic, is that the hardware, which is the mokh, is not mentioned in the Quran. The hardware itself, which is the mokh, which is actually, you can see it in many, many graphics like that. It's actually made of fat. It doesn't mean that you more fat you eat, you get smarter. No. It doesn't work that way. But it's 100% fat. See God's design? Fat, which has a bad name. But the brain hardware needs a software to run it. And this is in Arabic called aql. And this is the one mentioned in the Quran. So the hardware is useless, more or less useless, without the software. And the software has many layers, many layers. The first one is pre-program. Pre-program. This cell phone here, Dr. Sharafuddin mention my student Mike Lazardus of BlackBerry. The first mobile device in the world was BlackBerry in Waterloo. Now we can have many companies producing this. But this hardware is useless if you buy it without a pre-program called operating system. Useless. So at the manufacturer level, after they've tested the hardware, they put a pre-program called operating system and send it to you. Okay? And then you can take it and you can use it, and then you can apply, put apps on top, on top, on top. This is exactly what happened in here. By the way, the brain is in terms of weight, is very little compared to the body weight. What do you think is a percentage? Just show it. I don't want anybody to sleep, by the way. I know it's Ramadan and you're fasting and you're tired and you have no blood sugar, but I don't want to sleep. I came from Canada just for you. So what do you think? What do you think is a percentage of weight? There is no right answer. You're just guessing. Huh? It's 2%. So in weight, it's about 1 kg, but anyway, it's about 2%. Okay. This actually doesn't give the importance of the brain. What gives the importance of the brain is how much percentage of the blood, because the blood has sugar and oxygen to every cell in the body. So you have the liver, you have the heart, you have the lungs, and you have the brain. What do you think the brain gets in terms of percentage of the blood? Just say anything. Yeah, it is from 20 to 40. 20 to 40. 20 to 40. That's a lot. Why it's a lot? Because the brain is not a moving parts. It doesn't have a moving parts. Like the heart is actually doing this 24/7. For how many years? 100 years. From the mother womb till death, like that. It's a pump. It's moving, needs energy, but the brain gets more. So this means that when you say, I am tired mentally, it is a true statement. It's a true statement. Because there is a lot going on here. It's a lot going here. Let's talk about the pre-programming. God pre-programmed the human brain, which we call mind, in English, mind, from the conception. You can see the newborn baby is pre-programmed. He cannot see. He cannot see. But he can use other sensors. The smell of the mother milk, the smell of the mother, and the taste of the mother milk, and make recognition. So if you take the baby after, say, 1 week and give it to another nursing mother, he will reject it because he's programmed. Not using this yet. And he's pre-programmed once he get the mother milk and he hold tight on her breast in order to get nourishment. Pre-programmed. She doesn't teach him anything. Okay? Good to survive. And then once he starts seeing, he will smile to his mother. And if there is a stranger coming close, he start crying. Unless the stranger becomes familiar, like a father or somebody. Okay? All these pre-programmed. So the bottom line is, this brain here is very important. It's actually the most complex system in the planet Earth. I repeat that. The brain is the most complex system on planet Earth. None is more complicated than that. This is not just hype. This is science. This is science. So in the theory of complexity, when you analyze and reverse engineer the functions of the brain, you find it's very complicated, and it's the highest complexity compared to anything, either man-made or natural. And we go to the pre-programming now. The pre-programming, it's designed with a certain accuracy in order to survive. Okay? And when you become older, you have the option of putting on the RI add-on apps. Start growing. Okay? Either as a child, you know, a young boy, young girl in the neighborhood, within the household, and you have a choice to do good, and you increase the efficiency and the functions of the pre-program, or you ruin it. Ruin it. Ruin it. Because you have a choice. This is the design of the system. You exactly like this one. This is exactly like this one. This means that I can use an app and I can increase the functionality of my cell phone, or I can use an app which I don't know the source, and I can run all the apps, all the data, all the information. Let's talk about the brain. The brain has actually a very important function to perform non-voluntary jobs like breathing, like the heart rate, the blood pressure. No interference from you. Thank you very much. We don't need you. Okay? But also it has functions which is voluntary. This means not walking, talking, and so on. Now, anybody who is in neuroscience or AI even, or microchip design, you know that the memory in our brain is not in the location, it's the interconnection. So here we have many neurons. Can somebody guess how many neurons we have? A lot, but what? Sorry? It's 100 billion. 100 billion. I mean, they don't know of exactly, but it's in the range of 100 billion. Okay? And if you scale this down to something like fruit fly. Fruit fly is common in Malaysia and Egypt and Canada. Amazing. What is the number of neurons in fruit fly? It's 100,000. This is 100 billion. This is 100,000. But the functions of the fruit, I have actually in the book here something I called the fruit fly test. Fruit fly test is that let's sit together and try to make requirements for a fruit fly. Okay? Just 1, 2, 3. From the nature, we just list them. I listed, I think, 25, 30, something like that. The fruit fly has to make sure that energy efficient. What that means? Energy efficient means that it can, on a small glucose in their brain, it can fly till it gets to another fruit. Number one. Number two, it has to be power efficient. What's the difference between power efficient and energy efficient? Energy is the energy which you take for flying. And this is the energy. If this is a good telephone, it uses less energy than this telephone, which means that it can operate in a longer time, okay, on one charge of battery. We call it in microchip design, figure of merit. Figure of merit is the numbers you can use to compare microchip A with microchip B. One of them is energy, it takes less energy. The other one, it takes less power. Because any operation in the microchip or any operation in the brain, it generates power. If it's too much power, you need actually to force it air with a fan. And this is a no-no for a carry-on like this. You cannot put a fan here. Yes, you can do it in a laptop, desktop laptop, but the beauty of mobile, which I contributed a lot, is to have microchips which use less energy and less power and high speed. So the fruit fly does this naturally. God's design. The designer, capital T-H-E. When you look at the functions of the fruit fly, say subhanallah. So one of the functions of the fruit fly, that he can recognize fruit from any other things. Even tomato, maybe no, I mean, we don't know, we don't like tomato. But banana, yes. Mango, yes. That's recognition. Not only that, he can fly and he can land upside down in a ceiling. Impossible to do a robot to do that. Impossible. Impossible for that weight and that size. Remember, you have to look at the weight and the size and the energy and the power and the accuracy and speed. Okay, got the idea? But this one here is more complicated many folds than the brain of the fruit fly. We come to the most important part, which is the memory. Actually, I give you 5 secrets of the memory of the human brain, which I discuss in the book. And you will never hear this in a medical school. And you will never hear this in a neuroscience college or faculty. The reason for that, everybody is working in isolation. The people in neuroscience, they don't know AI. People in AI, they don't know neuroscience and brain physiology and biology. No. So let's look at the brain structure here. So the memory of the brain is very important. Not only it stores memory of events and people you saw, but it also stores the algorithm for every function in your body. Algorithm. So people with dementia, not only they forget who they are, where they are, and loved ones, eventually they forget the algorithm which they are born with in order to breathe. So what happened? They die. Got it? I have another book, actually, I devoted completely to dementia. I hope you buy it too. You know, it becomes expensive to come to hear me, right? You know, it's too much. But I'm sure that you will enjoy this book, and you will enjoy also the book on dementia. Because dementia becomes a very difficult for people in 50s and up. How difficult? In the US, which I'm sure that this is also in Canada, Western country, I'm not sure about here, but anyway, the lifespan in the US, people expected to live, it's around 80 years, about 80. Women always have better luck. They live longer. I don't know why. But another terminology is health span. Health span. So you have lifespan, which is life expectancy. Health span is defined as how long you become healthy not with chronic diseases like diabetic, obesity, high blood pressure, is 65. So this means on the average, people from health span to lifespan, they spend 15 years. I'm sure it's here in Egypt and everywhere because of fast food, lifestyle, and so on. They spend 15 years going back and forth to the doctors, either for diabetic, for cancer, for dementia, for this. So how you can reduce that? From 15 years, maybe 10 years, because the health system will collapse if people live longer and longer and longer. And the gap is still there. The governments, I really appreciate the healthcare in Malaysia because I used it actually. And we have also a similar one in Canada, which is very good too. That it collapse, cannot afford it from the tax dollar, becomes expensive. So you have to help yourself by how? By increasing health literature, that you can remember things, you can have lifestyle. In the book, I'm co-author with an MD. He's from Egyptian parents. He's American, practicing medicine in Arizona for older people. So let's talk about the memory of the brain. Actually, anybody here, they know the architecture of a computer. Is usually, in order to simplify things, we have a processing element and a memory element. And this is the same in here, okay? And then you can expand the memory. So this means that I can buy extra memory chips in here, I pay more, or I can use a cloud somewhere for my extension of the memory of this telephone. In the brain, this is not the structure is there. It's actually every part of the brain can do processing and memory. We call it memory and logic, or logic and memory. I worked on it. I graduated PhD. We did a lot, mimicking the brain in order to do microchips, which does the same, logic and memory, or and publish books. If anybody in IEEE can look up my name under this. So this means that it's a different structure from the computer. I talked about software and hardware, but that's just for analogy, just to explain things. But it's very complicated. And the complexity make it more efficient, okay? So let's look about the memory and the 5 features of the memory so you can remember them and you can try to use them and help them in order to live later life without dementia, okay? Because it's a lifestyle, mainly lifestyle. Dementia is affected by non-modifiable factors like gender, like genetics, like upbringing, but also is affected by lifestyle modifiable factors like diet, exercise, like napping, okay? People in Muslim countries used to nap in the middle of the day. They don't do it anymore. Dangerous stuff for this. You have to nap at least 20 minutes every day. At work, ask the boss, okay? Okay? You don't have to lay down in a bed, but at least put your hand like that on a desk and rest your head, close your eyes, and don't talk to anybody. Okay? Just snooze. You cannot force the brain to take more nap than it needs. You cannot force it. It needs nap, do it. It's like recharging your telephone, right? So, coming back again to the five memory features. The first one in the memory feature here is distributed. We call it in computer architecture, it's distributed systems. This means the memory, you cannot say this spot here, which is 1 millimeter cube, has memory, but it doesn't do processing. No. That can be a memory and can be processing at the same time. More processing when it needs, more memory when it's needed. Function change. Function change. Salute the designer. Salute the designer. The second feature. The second feature of the memory in the brain is it is asynchronous. It is asynchronous. We cannot do it in microchips. Very difficult, very complicated. We got lost there. So the memory here and all the functions here is called synchronized systems. Synchronized systems, this means that you have a clock. It's generated, running all the time, and it samples what is going on. A synchronous system, not like that. Because this is, you lose energy, you lose power, it's not efficient, but this is what we can do here. Here it's asynchronous. This means that it only engages part of the brain when it's needed. Only then. Only then. Okay? The third one, the third feature of the memory, the human memory, it's a smart. What means smart memory? Smart memory that it actually decides what it will need later on to store. Can you hear me? It store what it needs later on. And it engage the 5 sensors. It engage 5 sensors that we have. This is not the case here. It's under my command. If I want to store my talk, my message, I can store it, my picture, my video, and I can retrieve it back. This doesn't do here, because this is stupid. This is stupid. It's smart. It knows. Okay? So as I talk to you right now, my memory is changing. Every split second. Why it changing? Because it fetch the next word. The same with you. And your memory change every split second, listening to me. And it's smart. It will not record, your memory doesn't record everything I talk. Okay? I hope it does, but no guarantee. So this smart feature, it uses less energy space than if it is not smart. You know? It's this area here. My memory already looked at it. Okay? Looked at the event, the time. So it's already engaged in data processing. I decided this or not. So maybe, without me interfering, said, why you want to know where you were? Maybe you will never come back here. Delete. What about this audience here? Maybe you will not meet them again, except Dr. Sharafuddin, Chairman. Delete. You see? So this means that they do very smart processing, because otherwise this will be just overcapacity, just too much. Okay? Number 4. Are you writing? Yes. Number 4. Number 4, it's associated memory. It's associated memory. I will explain that. Associated memory, again, is very difficult to implement here. Very difficult to implement here. Associated memory, which means that it stores information under different heading. Okay? different heading with no interference from you. This one here is not associated. This one here is an abstract, I am control, delete, retrieve, store, just like that. Okay? But my memory is associated. The lady behind Dr. Sharafuddin, first time I see her. So my memory will look at her since what? I just not picking on you. So my memory will say, oh, she has a smiling face. She's a lady. See? So this means that recognition of her face is not abstract. It's under woman, under maybe Malay woman, that I met her in this event, that she's smiling, she looks smart, okay? She listened to me, and she will not give me hard time in the question period. All of that under do you think that our brain, when he put association to recognize her face, because 10 years later, I will remember, most likely I remember, 10 years. How? Because they're different association. Different association. So you think it takes more memory? No. It takes less memory. Anybody here works in memory research? Associated memory needs less memory capacity than abstract or normal memory. So our memory here is associated. So, how you use this so far in exercising your brain in order not to get dementia at old age? You find in YouTube and all these things, reverse aging. You cannot reverse aging. Scientific fact, you cannot reverse. It's part of us. Many factors contribute to aging. Or exercise your memory. How you exercise your memory? Oh, now very common, I'm not sure if it's in Malaysia, crossword puzzle. Useless. Useless. Crossword puzzle, a waste of time. It's fun, but it's a waste of time. Games, video games, on your phone, waste of time. It doesn't exercise the memory. It's fun. Why it's not exercising the memory? Because the associated memory. So the brain will casually work on a crossword puzzle, work on the video, and you might win, and you might get some money. But that's it. Finish. Khalas. Delete. Go to something else. So it doesn't exercise it. Okay? What exercise it? Is the associated quality of the brain. Because the associated quality of the brain, remember the brain is connected to our 5 sensors. 5 sensors. Okay? The eye, the hearing, the smell, the taste, the touch. All of them, we got them in kg, correct? Where's your ear? You said, oh, that's in my ear. So these 5 sensors are connected to the brain for a good reason. It's for the association to useless memory space. So let's take one example. These sensors are actually very smart. And they are very complicated. Let's take one of them, is the smell in here. So inside this nose of yours, you have micro sensors for the smell. How many you think is there? Don't sleep, please, okay? Please. Just shout anything. Shout anything. How many micro sensors in the nose for the smell? 3,000. 10 million. You got that? 10 million macro sensor in your nose. And the area of the nose, if you want to really compare it to the post stamp, you know, the post. So if you have a post stamp, you spread it here, you find almost very tiny area. It's a smart sensor also. It can distinguish very quickly any dangers for you. Okay? And it's live sensors. It's live sensors. These 10 million macro sensors are live sensors. They are replaced how often? How often these 10 million are replaced in your, what? Just say it again. Every 4 to 8 days. I repeat this again? Every 4 to 8 days, the sensors here are replaced completely without you noticing. Okay? Because the old one are dead, the new one is replacing it. So it's energetic and ready to go. So the moral of the story is, try to engage your sensors in the memory training. Memory training. Okay? How many people here still smell the food like our mothers used to do long time ago? Be honest, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Used to be everybody. Okay? My mother-in-law, she's 103. She still smells the food. And her smell is 100% accurate. So the idea is to associate all your sensors in order to make a decision and become aware of it. I notice most Malay, alhamdulillah, still eat with their hand. Because this is actually involved the hand, the touches, and with the smell, you know, you're exercising your memory. And you are in the pleasure of eating. Okay? So if you want to exercise your memory, use your sensors in association. How many people here, they know the name of the person in the bank teller? I mean, now we use machine, but I mean, still, sometime you go to a regular bank. How many people know the name of that person? 1, maybe 2, 3. You know how many kids they have? No. No. Why this is important? This is important because this is a training, real training of your memory. Association. I go to the taxi driver and I ask, taxi driver, what's your name? Where are you from? How many kids you have? What education? If he doesn't want to talk to me, it's okay. But this is, I'm doing it not to be really busybody, no. It's actually in order to engage my memory. So if I use that taxi again, I remember him because of the question I asked. I train my memory associate, and it is useful to me. So this is important. How many people here, when they fly in an aeroplane, talk to the person next door? None. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. Of course, now it's getting worse, okay? Because you have this one here, you have Wi-Fi on the plane, you turn it on, and you face the screen again, okay? The real person beside you, how are you? If he is going to sleep, let him sleep, okay? But engage in the conversation. It's for you and for him, okay? So this association here, pay attention to it. And the early, the better. The last one, which is the memory we talked about, distributed, asynchronous, smart, associated, and pre-programmed. Pre-programmed, we talked earlier about it, that our memory is pre-programmed, okay, to make decision, okay. We talked about the baby, mother milk, and so on. And please be gentle on the apps you put on. Okay, now we talk about how you can extend the lifespan. How much time I have? Almost finished? Okay, few minutes here more. So in order to look at the holistic part of the brain, which is hardware and software, okay, and I add actually is beyond the physical, which we already know from the Quran. God in the Quran said, for you and me, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. I breathe into humans something from my soul. So we had a divine, part of a divine, for the divine, we have part here. Okay? So this means that in order to look after the well-being or your brain, actually it's part of brain health and also the body. Okay? It is three: physical, mental, and spiritual. Three. I invented for the last one, spiritual fitness. I have a trademark, international trademark, world recognized in New York, that I am the inventor of the word spiritual fitness. I didn't really record yet RI. So it says spiritual fitness. So we have physical fitness, and you can measure physical fitness, but you also can measure spiritual fitness, and how you can achieve it, and what are the benefits. So it's a similar thing. I have a book, separate book. You see, very expensive to come here, I know. But spiritual fitness is an old book, and it's available free on. I put it available free onto the internet, a special platform. So this means that you have to look after these three aspects. And in the book on dementia, we have a questionnaire. You test yourself on lifestyle medicine. Because unfortunately, lifestyle medicine are only promoted in 2 countries in the world: UK and your neighbor, Australia. Engage with them. Lifestyle medicine. It's a new type of medicine. It's being taught as a specialty into medical school. And it's crossed the border between AI and RI and neuroscience. Lifestyle medicine is the idea that you can change your lifestyle in order not to go to the doctor ever. So there is modified factors. And modified factors, I put it into the dementia book. I speak briefly in this one here about aging. There's only one chapter. Actually, dementia is actually a spin-off from that AI book. I devote completely, because my mother died from dementia. Sorry to be emotional. So the physical part is that we have many things. The first one is exercise. Second one is dieting. Third one is napping. Managing high blood pressure. Managing diabetic. Managing this and that. Okay. So we have about 20 factors. So half of the lifestyle factors in the dementia book is physical. Because this is actually the structure, your structure. You have to look after it. The mental one, which is this mean that you have to avoid stress, you have to avoid depression, you have to avoid anxiety, because they are killers. They are killers, and mental health is not understood and ignored by most of the health system worldwide, not like the physical one. And they have a stigma. Somebody is depressed, should read al-Fatiha or have ruqya. Yes, it's good, but this is a disease. You have to manage it. You have to be treated, and also you have to avoid it. You have to avoid it. So about 20 factors out of 40, half of it physical, 10 about mental, and the third one, it's about spiritual. And spiritual actually is very important, but it's ignored by the Western medicine, although they're coming slowly to recognize it, that this is important. For example, in hospital in Canada, when you are staying there for whatever post-operation for say 10 days, okay, they get the surgeon come to see you regularly, the specialist to come to see you regularly, and a spiritual person, a priest, you know, if you are Christian, an imam if you are Muslim, a rabbi if you are a Jew, somebody from Hinduism or Buddhism, whatever you think that your religion is, because this is help recovery. So use it for actually enhancing your lifestyle in order not to get chronic disease later on in life. And nothing is too early. Young people here I see, you know, below 30. How many people below 30 here? Below 30? You are below 30? One? All of us now becomes below 30, right? So not too early, because, you know, some people, when I talk to them, you know, I'm talking about real lifestyle medicine is to take care of the health. You're below 70s, yeah. So this means that it doesn't matter, it's not too early to look after your health, because not only to prevent dementia at later age, but also to have better health. Okay, enjoy life more. Okay, so the bottom line is that this lifestyle medicine, it is common and it is have a medical specialization in UK and Australia, but unfortunately not in Canada and the US. The reason is drug companies don't want you to get healthy. It's true. They will not support research in lifestyle medicine, but they support research in vaccination, because this is where they get the money. So be smart. Don't get sick. Let them lose money. Okay? I stop now. I thank you very much for your attention, and we have some time for questions. Thank you very much.
It's okay. Hold on. Hello. Okay. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Professor, for your insightful sharing. It is now time for a Q&A session. If you have any question, please feel free to raise your hand. For our online audience joining via Facebook Live, you may type your questions in the comment section and we will read it out for you. Now let's begin the Q&A session.
Thank you. I'm not sure about you, but certainly I was fully awake. And especially the lady behind me, of course, she was awake. I don't think we have come here to to be surprised. But I was surprised with Professor Elmasry because he's an engineer just like me, but I cannot speak like him. So he has learned a lot more outside the field of engineering, so I congratulate you for that. Now, we have time for Q&A. Feel free to ask. Yes, you have already one hand up. Just give your name and be as brief as possible. So please, this is our fellow. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, I'm Noraini Idris.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your excellent sharing. A lot of people now are relying too much on artificial intelligence. The students now in school, they do not want anymore to use their real intelligence, but they rely a lot. They're doing assignment, they're doing the calculation on mathematics and whatnot on artificial intelligence. So, I mean, what do you suggest?
Can I answer? Yeah. Okay. This is unfortunate. I'm a member of an international group which is based in San Francisco, which is called AI safety. And many of these issues comes up. First of all, in terms of universities or schools, they must have certain regulations, okay? That if somebody using AI app, they have to declare that I use this to improve or my essay, okay? Because otherwise becomes dishonest from the person to use it to improve and so on, okay? That's number one. Number two is that there is already AI, anti-AI app. So this means that if somebody actually lied to you and he said that I wrote this essay, and then you can run an AI app and say, no, this is actually an AI generated. It becomes too complicated, too ugly, okay? So the idea is that you cannot really prevent students from using it, but you can do some exercises in the exam or pre-exam in order to show intelligence, that the personality and the intelligence show into it, you know, innovation and so on. And you always, as a teacher or professor, is to preach that this is actually against human brain, and then you have a dull brain later on, okay? And we see the suffering of this. You know, my grandchild, one of them, she's 13 years old, okay? And she goes with her family in Canada to spend, say, a week in Florida, okay? And I asked, do you have a good time? Yes, a good time, Grandpa. Who's the governor of Florida? What is the capital? She doesn't know. She has to go into the internet in order to get the information. That's not good, okay? We used to have, like most of you, is to memorize 200 countries and their capitals as a test, you know, for fun. So the idea is to preach always with young children, please use your intelligence and your memory, because you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it, okay? It is okay to use AI, okay, but within reason.
Yes, next. I have two hands there. The front one first. Yes, please.
Thank you, Prof. It's Azim here from Alpha Catalyst. So my question for you is, how do you actually tap on the brain, your mind, and also maybe a bit of AI which is out there to get better intuition, to get epiphanies? Because what I see now from ChatGPT, Gemini, it's all the same thing. There's nothing new, it's very derivative. So that's my question. Thank you.
This is actually very difficult to do. And the proof of this is, let me just go back a little bit. Innovation either two types, either technology-driven or market-driven. Okay, it's the best actually if both of them are there into a product, okay, which is sometimes happen, okay. One of the technology-driven is self-driving cars. Self-driving cars, the technology can allow it, but there is no market for it. Why you do it? And then they spend billions of dollars in order to do it. The human brain here is not just a driver. It has association of many, many, many things that you cannot do it in the self-driving car. You know, maybe 100,000 factors is processed here when you drive a car, okay? Yes, somebody will run in front of you with motorcycle, you know, but that's stupid, you know. But so the idea is that if it is technology-driven, it's dangerous stuff. If it is market-driven, yes, there is a need for it, and you can produce it and you can improve it. I mentioned something, the radiologist. Radiologist, the AI package for radiologist cannot replace a top expert radiologist, but it can be like a trainee or a radiologist with 6 months or one year training. So very useful, okay? So this means that you can actually use your resources later on, okay? So this means that we will go back and forth for AI like this? Yes, unfortunately, because it's a young technology. There is lots of hype. Many people making lots of money on the stock market, selling AI shares and buying AI share companies, okay? It will stabilize later on, not now.
The second person from the side. I'm going to be democratic. I'm going to scan this middle and this. Anybody?
Good morning.
Yes, one. Yes.
Good morning, Professor. I have a question for you. I'm Kik Ai. I my name. Right. It's regarding education. Lately, I read about an article. The Swedish Prime Minister is propagating going back to textbooks. Now we are going, on one hand, we are trying to be innovative, working on the laptops and tablets. What do you think, Professor? Thank you.
This brings us to the association. For a long time, up till now, okay, when I'm interested in a book, I buy my own hard copy. Okay? The reason for this, I'm exercising my brain. Using what? Using 5 sensors. Because it's my copy, I can underline what I want. Because it's my copy, I can hold it in my hand. So the smell of the book, unless an old book and it's dusty and starts sneezing, that's not good. But I don't like e-copy. I don't like audio copy. If I'm interested in this book, I buy my copy, paper copy, mark it, okay, use it, because I'm engaging my associated memory with the associated smart sensor, all of them, except the taste, of course, okay? So going back to the textbook, especially, I mean, I grew up in Egypt, you know, at the beginning of the year, they give us all the books, and we spend 1 week to cover it, to color different colors. Same here. And then also notebooks to write on and stuff like that. This is very important, associated memory training. So he's right to go back to the textbook and then give it to the students in order to do this and that.
Good morning, Professor. So my name is Kavi Kumar. So my question is actually, as artificial intelligence moving forward to the general intelligence, so what will be the defining characteristic or features that can separate human intelligence from artificial intelligence?
Can you rephrase the question? What?
So what will be the defining characteristics?
To compare AI with RI? AGI. Okay. I mean, the AI field is actually evolving. It's evolving, okay, which is good actually, because I believe, for example, in diagnosis of diseases can help a lot, okay. And another thing which I will talk about in the meeting later on is reverse engineering the brain. Reverse engineering the brain using the characteristic that we use in AI, which we borrowed originally from the brain, like with the one I explained to you. This is about pre-programming, associated memory, asynchronous, distributed. All these are the real intelligent. We borrowed there, and then we forgot about it and become as if AI is actually born with no father or mother. That's no good, okay? So I think if this link and bridging the knowledge gap, it can help, you know, moving forward. Does this answer your question? Kind of, okay?
Kind of, yes. You will take some more efforts. I suggest you read a lot of articles. There are many articles being written on this. But my impression is actually, my sense is, I don't think machines will ever approach human intelligence, basically. Anyway, next. Yes.
Yeah, can I comment? Yeah. There is a lot of effort, actually, for a machine to mimic the brain, okay? I didn't talk about it. For example, there is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligent. A human have it, emotional intelligent. Okay? And this help us survive. You know? Feeling sad, feeling happy, feeling afraid, and so on. So people try to get the science of emotional intelligence into codes and to make sure that the AI has some of these features, okay? It doesn't mean that it will replace us, but it help decision making. Because sometimes in using AI to diagnose mental illness, you need some of these. By the way, to diagnose, for example, mental illness from a chat of a teenagers on Facebook. There is AI trying to do that. I established a group in Egypt for Arabic speaking in order to detect if that person has a problem or not from the chatting back and forth. Okay? So in that case, the AI parameters is actually not analyzing the language and the culture, but also the emotion of the person, you know, his age, his gender, all these are important. With a psychologist, remember the expert? Psychologist sitting beside the programmer for the AI.
All right. So next question, yes, please. In the meantime, any more hands? Yes. Two here. Yeah. Two
Thank
ladies.
you. Morning, and thank you, Prof, for the enlightening talk. I'm an engineer, and I would like to know, how do you see AI evolving into the next decade, and what industry are likely to experience the most disruptive changes due to AI advancement?
Destructive?
Yeah. Okay. What industry are likely to experience the most disruptive changes due to AI advancement? Thank you.
Right, yeah.
Thank you, Prof.
I don't know really the prediction of XYZ industry. I think all industry will benefit wisely from AI apps. That's for sure. Okay, because AI is actually helps in many functions. If you choose the right one and train it for your locality, you know, you can move on. Okay, the first part of the question is that AI, yeah, I think if Malaysia want to be the leader in AI, they should really focus on healthcare, okay, and reverse engineering the brain, okay, because this is where you can get the higher mileage, and it's very difficult because you need expertise into what? Into AI, into microchip accelerator, and into neuroscience, and lifestyle medicine, and medicine. So it's a lot of expertise. They have to talk to the same language, and they get together in order to make the impact. And it's also, you can focus onto the language and the culture. Okay, for example, Muslim language, Arabic and Malay language, maybe, okay? Chinese language, if you want. Okay, by the way, I got a contract from the Chinese government to translate this book into Chinese. So they will sell millions of copies. So next time, so next time I come with Dr. Sharafuddin invitation, I'll come with my private jet. Okay. So you can focus on something which is not of interest to the big players there. You know, the locality is important. And you can actually, here is a chance to engage the spiritual part of it, okay? I give you one example. When I was young, okay, and I start fasting, 7 years, 8 years, you know? So I've been taught, you know, what to fast. And then you wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, have your suhoor, and then my mother told me, you have to say intention. So I said, what? I'm waking up at 4 o'clock, what intention? The only reason I'm waking 4 o'clock is to eat. And my intention is to fast. I know this, God knows this. So why I do this? So I repeated this part of the habit all my life till I came to search for this book. And this is exactly the training of the brain, because you do a message in the brain by saying, oh, nawaitu siyam, or whatever language you use, okay? This means that you're telling all your body, all your sensors, okay? Don't be afraid that you get hungry at 3 o'clock, okay? I'm fasting today. So it helps engaging the brain with all your body. So this is another feature of making AI into Malaysia as a hub for this type of things, integrating spirituality. By the way, spirituality, the one I'm familiar with in Islam, is the same in other culture and every other religion. But this part into the AI sphere in the West is slow, because people think that, you know, not of spirituality, what's the importance of yoga, what's important of praying, what's important of that. Okay, it's okay. But here you can have the feature, and you make money, because people will be using your app for this XYZ than using the Silicon Valley app.
Wonderful. Professor Samim, yes, your turn. Our fellow.
Assalamualaikum, good morning. I think I can speak without much. I'm curious about what you say about exercising the brain. I guess what you're advocating is an activity with the neighbors rather than playing jigsaw puzzle or any kind of puzzle. But the problem is, living in the city, we are, most of us are isolated from our neighbors, and we have very limited social scene. So, what do you suggest?
Yeah. This observation is true, but one of the factors that Dr. Karim, which is a co-author of the book, was a medical doctor, and me, into this book on dementia, which have self-assessment questionnaire, has 40 points. You know, you ask yourself, is social isolation is very dangerous to the brain. Very dangerous to the brain. Unfortunately, when people get dementia, the feedback is negative. The family cannot actually take care of the patient. They put him away because who cares? He doesn't know me. I'm his son, but he doesn't know me. Okay? So less interaction, more dementia. So the death comes very quickly because we are not engaging the brain, even when he has dementia. You can go and visit and hold the hands. He can still feel your hand. Hold it tight. He might cry, but it will benefit him or her. So the idea of social isolation, actually Ramadan gives you a way out, okay? Because people invite each other on Ramadan for iftar. And during Shawwal, mashallah, here in Malay, you know, you go from one place to another, and then all the weight lost in Ramadan, you put it back in 1 week, in the first week of Shawwal, with all the cookies and all the sweets. It's okay to reduce the glucose consumption, okay? But also you can increase your social functions. Okay, Taraweeh, for example, you know, men and women go for Taraweeh. That is an excellent way of doing. So the Ramadan is really like a training ground, okay, for interaction like that. Okay, of course, the Jum'ah prayer also once a week. That's a very important one. I'tikaf for Ramadan, okay. Although some people said no, a woman to do i'tikaf, which is not true actually. Women can have their own section to do i'tikaf also in Ramadan.
Yes, there was a lady behind Professor Samin.
Also,
Yeah, I'll go to this side.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, this lady behind there. Yep, okay, that's it.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Alaikum
Thank you
salam.
so much for your talk.
Can you stand up, please?
Oh.
I can see you.
Okay, my name is Nur Saada. So I'm not working in AI. I'm actually working in chemistry, but I spent a lot of time like reading and exploring on the ability of our brain. So I love that a lot. So my question is, when we are trying to understand and defining artificial intelligence and real intelligence, so when I tend to compare, I can see that there are a lot of advantages of artificial intelligence over real intelligence. For an example, the speed itself, how fast can it get information, its ability to find a lot of informations on whatever available on the internet and generate some sort of dependable prediction. So my question for you is, based on what you have, your experience and what you have researched so far, what are the advantages of real intelligence over artificial intelligence that we should actually focus on? Because I believe that we have to accept artificial intelligence in our life. But how much it is growing, I think we, with our real intelligence, need to grow as well. So what should we focus on? So that's my first question. My second question is, when I think about it myself, I can only think of two things: intuition and also some sort of, because you talked about sensors. So how does our sensors relate to our real intelligence? So My second question is, do you think artificial intelligence will also head towards the same direction? Will there be a situation in the future where artificial intelligence is able to also incorporate some sort of senses or mind-heart coherence in some sort of way in order for them to also function like real intelligence? Those two questions. Thank you so much.
There's two questions there. Okay. Really shouldn't be a comparison between AI and RI. No comparison. Okay? AI is a computer program. It just have a sexy name. That's all. We've been doing computer programs since IBM in the 1930s. What's the difference? The difference is the way we do programming. Okay? So number one. No comparison. We're not competing with AI. AI doesn't compete with us. Second one, which is actually related to about the sensors. We don't know how, I talked about the smell, we don't know how the sensors in the nose work. We don't know how the brain stores information about the smell. We don't know. We have to know, we have to define and how the natural system works in order to mimic it into hardware or software for AI. The only thing a little bit is the recognition for the eye and a little bit of recognition for the hearing. I'll give you one example. You're talking about accuracy. They made what is called airport test. Did you hear that? Airport test. To see the human hearing recognition, how good it is. Remember, our memory is smart. It does not need to hear all your voice and then store it. But it chooses, like what? Like from childhood, the mother voice. Never forget it. Never forget it. So we did it in the airport test. They bring a mother, like say my mother, put her into the middle of the airport and get somebody else. Arabic speaking, Egyptian and so on. And one of them say, Muhammad. This is very noisy environment. AI never recognize them. In a split second, I recognized the voice of my mother. Why? Because the association, because the pre-programming, since I was a baby, not to see the mother voice is very important to survive. And I can give you many examples like that. This is just one example. So the idea that sensors can help us to do a better AI, yes, but it's very complicated and becomes less accurate, very expensive, takes more energy, more power. And what you're going to gain? Yes, they do it in the airport, okay? They have, say, 100,000 criminals, and then they look at your face and compare it to recognition of the 100,000. Yes, they do it fast, okay, in line, maybe 30 seconds. That's good, that's the application. But this is not competing with me. And recognize, I mentioned, this lady here in the front, probably 10 years from now, I can recognize her with no actual recognition in pixels, inviting her face in my brain into 1 million pixels and then comparing. This is what they do in the airport. They divide your face into pixel, compare it there. It's a data lookup. Got it?
All right, can I move here? There is a hand, let me ask first. Anyone from here?
Me, brother.
Yes, please.
Welcome, Prof. Can I? May I?
Yeah, please.
Anwar from Sanwi. My question is a bit on the spiritual side. Lately, people have been using artificial intelligence, this large language model for tadabbur of Al-Quran, or even using it for hadith. So what is your opinion on this? When they start training these large language models and relying on it rather than the traditional way?
Yeah, I mean, in routine work like that, and you have a big database. I mean, before the AI becomes sexy, we have search engine. Search engine is a part of an AI, but they don't talk about it now, because now we want the sexy chatbot and generated. AI can generate another program. Quite a big deal, thank you. It could be useful to me, it could be useless to me. Okay, is that?
But when they use it for tadabbur, they rely on the notification of the verses.
Yes, that's a good thing, right? Yeah, but what I'm saying is that this is like an aid to the real thing. Okay, this means that if there are scholar want to do search verification like that, he has to be in control, because you can get wrong results. AI cannot differentiate, okay? Because the AI is as good as two things: the programmer and the expert used. Two. So this means that if you get a lousy programmer and a lousy expert, you get a garbage. An unexpert package, software. So you have to be very careful,
All right, we have two hands now. First that one, yes, and then Yosef.
Assalamu alaikum, Professor. It's really insightful. Izzat here from PNB. I'm the Chief Technology Officer. So I really like it's quite relevant topic, but I think with the overlaying of Islamic spiritual lens, I think it carries different meanings. As you pointed out, AI lacks of lack of the intuitive, consciousness, and even emotion, to your point earlier. But as we know, as time progresses, Gen AI rapidly develop, and when your brain reverse engineering completed, when they're able to actually decode our common sense kind of things, what do you think in the future when AI surpass the real intelligence? What happened to human being, human race like ourselves?
I think I mentioned that in different parts of my talk. I mean, you cannot compare the two. This is not fair. Not fair to our intelligence, and not fair also to the AI. AI is just a program, okay? As good as the programmer and the expert behind it. And it can be improved. And you can involve other factors, as I said, emotion factors, for example, okay? Gender, for example, culture, for example, spiritual factors, for example, but it's still a computer program, okay? So this means that, yes, you can, by doing the reverse engineering, for example, the fasting, for example, God in the Quran said, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. التقوى من أعمال القلوب. The taqwa is part of my heart. Actually, in the physical fasting, nobody knows I'm fasting or not. I can go and have a drink of water. So in the fasting, you can see it's an engagement of what? Of three: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. God, of course, emphasized the spiritual one because it's important. I'm not sure in Malaysia, but it's happened everywhere in the Muslim world. After Ramadan, they ask you, did you lose weight? It should be the other way around. Should be your taqwa increased. You're more spiritual fit now. Not, yes, of course, you can lose weight, but you can look at the physical benefit of fasting, you know, one interesting thing which is just discovered actually not long ago is that the liver has two functions. The liver has two functions. The first one is to get rid of all the poison in the food and the bloodstream, to get rid of it and put the bloodstream goes out in whatever way outside the body. The second function, listen carefully, the second function of the liver is, which you never get to be exercised except in fasting. Second function, important, very function. So you exercise the liver in the second function only in Ramadan. What is that? This means that when in Ramadan, when your blood sugar goes down, the brain get a signal. This guy is dying. We should make sure that he get enough sugar, because all the cell of the body, especially the brain, gets nourishment and keep alive with the blood sugar and the oxygen, of course. So the signal in the brain said, this guy is dying. Please help to bring the sugar up. Where this signal goes to? To the liver. So the liver gets this signal from the brain. This guy is dying. He's fasting. Of course, this is after a few days, of course, right? So the liver will get that signal. The liver get fetching the fat in the body. Fetch the body. By the way, the fat in the body are in the fat cells. Fat cells in the body are fixed numbers. They don't change when you become an adult. They are all over the body. Unfortunately for men, most of their fat cells are in the front. Why it's dangerous? Because it's close to the heart and close to the lung. Good fortunate for the ladies, their fat cells in behind, which is a good thing. So the liver will get that signal. Please help us. So he get all the fat, some fat from the fat cells and convert it into sugar-like substance. Sugar-like substance. Not sugar, but sugar-like substance. Actually, it's a very bad smell. And that's why the Prophet said when you fast, watch for your smell of the mouth, because of that material. The liver is trying to help you. Okay? You cannot help it. That smell, bad smell, is not coming from your stomach or your colon, nothing. It's actually coming from the blood. The liver is working hard in order to create this sugar-like substance. So when you look at fasting, it has the physical one. It has the mental one, which we talked about the salah, yoga movement, the taraweeh, social gathering, and Eid celebration. And then also the spiritual one, which is the Prophet warned. I said some people fast, but out of their fasting, they get thirst and hunger. That's all. So the benefit is not the thirst and the hunger, but becoming spiritually fat. You know, it's amazing. Actually, I know some Muslims, the first things, they break their fast, they go for a smoke. It's here in Canada, Egypt. This should be a training ground. You have 12 hours that you not smoking. Make sure you use it the rest of the year. God will help you. It's bad for you at any age, but they don't listen.
The lady, this may be the last question, unless there's somebody. Yes, another lady there. Okay, two last questions. Yes, the ladies will get the benefit. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Judy. Thank you, Professor, for that very enlightening input, especially on aging and all that. Now, this may be my personal thought on it, but relating to what that lady spoke about on artificial intelligence and learning the senses, right? Because we seniors recently, a group of us were encouraged to use ChatGPT. And I started using it, and I found that it was very interesting, very useful, because you don't have to think so hard to write, a letter or anything like that, right? But then, of course, I went for another course which told us that what you get is what you input. So that means I'm a programmer, I understood that. And then I also started chatting casually with ChatGPT. Like, how are you today? I'm feeling depressed and all that sort of thing. So with that, I thought maybe, and they store our information, right? So as time goes on and as I chat with my personal, intelligence, don't they learn my emotion and my, spirituality and all that? And then when they have input, when I go to them for any questions or any help, they can produce those for me, like as if I am doing it. Does it make sense? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and you can do it. But remember, when I talked about association, when you talk to a real person, okay, even if they don't talk, they don't know you, okay, you engage another RI with another RI, okay, because it's not, you're engaging 5 sensors. The chat that you have with the AI is engaging on, say, talk. And if the programmer and the expert is dull and have no sense of humor, it's terrible, okay? But talking to you like that, I can say, well, how I can actually make my sentence not too harsh or make you laugh without offending you. All this is happening here. It's not happening in the AI. You got it? So it's useful, okay? But it does not replace real thing, because of the association and that you're involving these five sensors together, all together.
All right, the last question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ain. Actually, I'm representing my colleagues here. We were taking notes while in your lecture just now, and you mentioned about 5 features of the memories. And I think we managed to get 4 out of 5. So I would like to double confirm on the last element of the memory.
Can I mention them and you can check?
Yes, please.
So the first one is distributed. Mm-hmm. Second one asynchronous. Mm-hmm. And the third one is smart. Mm-hmm. And the fourth one associated. Mm-hmm. And the fifth one pre-programmed.
Reprogrammed. Pre-program or reprogram?
Pre-program. Like the memory here is not pre-programmed unless it's in the pre-program app or something or operating system. Mm-hmm. But 99% of this, I create, I delete, I retrieve, and so on. Okay? But ours is not like that. Ours, there is a pre-program there, okay, in order for us to survive. And we have no choice for it. And they are operating the lungs, the heart, the blood pressure, they are adjusting the sugar in the blood, etc., etc. They call it non-voluntary. Okay? The voluntary is also pre-programmed, but we control it. You know? Control it that I like to cheer for Liverpool in soccer. Okay? So the Liverpool players, when they run, they have to get more oxygen and more sugar to the brain. And this is based on the pre-program, and then they put their physical running into it. So this means they get more oxygen, more sugar to the brain in order to help them to win the game. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Prof. Actually, I have one last question. What do you think about the quantum device? It is said to change the landscape of AI hardware.
Quantum.
Yes.
Quantum computing.
Yes.
Yeah. Quantum computing is for the future, and it will stay in the future.
All right, thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
By the way, we have an institute in Waterloo for quantum computing.
Yeah.
Okay, and many professors are working on it. Some of them are my ex-PhD. They are professors now. And then I asked the lady professor, she did her PhD on computer architecture. And I said, you know, what is quantum computing? She couldn't actually define it for me.
There is one hand behind there. Is it a burning question? Because we already close. Last question. You okay? Now the man gets the benefit to ask the last question. Very rare.
Hi, peace be upon you.
Yeah.
My question is, are there estimations on the limit or extent of how far AI can advance in executing expert tasks under high pressure, such as carrying out space missions or research replacing astronauts, or doing medical procedures or surgery? And to build on that, you said we are not competing with AI, but still, what is your opinion on the abstract end of a spectrum in a sector being more AI resistant than the technical end, such as majoring in physics versus majoring in engineering, or simply physicists versus engineers, something like that?
Can you rephrase?
Can you repeat? I also couldn't get the sense. Simplify. What is the question?
Simplify. So, firstly, to what extent do you think that AI can replace human in performing expert tasks? Because the programming we have still to do. But for example, surgery or maybe space missions or things like that, and also
surgery, is it?
How the AI can replace
surgery?
No, the human. I would say functions.
Yeah, I mean, it's since the search engine, you know, a long time ago, it is an AI program, and you know, if I want certain information, you know, they search all the digital space and they give me the information, okay? But I have to be careful, you know, because like Wikipedia, you don't know the author, you know? Wikipedia is there, you know, people use it all the time, but we don't know who wrote it, who's the editor, okay? So you get lucky, yes, and sometimes you get wrong information. So we have to be very careful. So you have to use this first to see, does this make sense or not? Okay? About AI advances, it will always advance, and it always get a new application that for people to be able to use and enhance a certain field. It is used, of course, in military, it's used in aerospace, it's used in healthcare, okay? So it is used in a different sector, okay? Because it improves the performance and can replace a need for a top-notch expert, okay?
So does this suggest that the abstract end of each sector is more AI resistant than the technical end?
I will not actually say that, but we will wait and see, you know, because as I mentioned earlier, there is a technology-driven application, and there is also market-driven application. I like market-driven application. There is a market, there is a need, and you develop an AI for it. Technology-driven is dangerous. This means that I can do it with AI and then push into the market and make a hype that this can do this, can do that, okay, to make money. I don't like that one.
Thank you.
I guess that's it. I don't think we can go anymore because I think people are going to sleep after this. Anyway, it's not meant to be a summary, but I think the last part of the discussion is a summary. What we are going to see is that the future of AI will be assured, but of course we have to understand how to use it well. Right? Right now, most people are talking about the strengths of AI, but they have not spent enough time to understand the weaknesses of AI. In fact, AI has a lot of weaknesses, a lot. And the analogy that Professor Elmasry made with Wikipedia is a very apt analogy. If you read a Wikipedia article, you do not know who actually wrote it, who edited it, who approved it. None. So you have to make your own judgment. Is what they're telling the truth? And you may want to triangulate, find other sources of information that are even more, I would say, useful for that purpose. In other words, what we're beginning to see is that just like anything in life is the adab, the word adab, how to use AI in its place, but do not use AI not in its place. Jadi tidak beradab. Saya nak kata tidak beradab jadi biadab, tapi boleh. So in other words, when we build our civilization, we go back to what our values are. What do we believe in? You cannot depend on AI. It's a very stupid machine. It's just a machine. It can be improved over time, but it will always remain a machine. So with that, I think I should stop here. I thank Professor Elmasry profusely for coming here to spend time with us, and thank you very much for addressing all the questions.
Thank you Dr. Tengku and Professor Mohamed Elmasry. Thank you everyone for your enthusiastic questions and active participation. Oh, okay. Okay, everyone on the left side of the room, can we move a little bit to the center so we can get everyone in the frame? Thank you for your patience. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. That concludes our session for today. Before we end, I would like to take this opportunity to send my salam nuzul Al-Quran and wishes in advance as we observe this meaningful occasion tomorrow. For our invited experts joining the closed session, kindly proceed to the council room located in front of this hall. Once again, thank you everyone and have a wonderful day ahead.